Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hardcore Minecraft. This is not actually how I was planning on starting today's episode. I mostly was just doing some work off camera around the base, but then I decided that I needed to find another fortress so that I could start converting villagers and get some villagers breeding around the base. I want to do that just so that I can get better gear, which I've talked about before, but I actually stumbled across another fortress. So our portal's just a couple hundred blocks that way, and the fortress is just right there, if you can see. So I figured that I would start recording this just so if I die, we have that on camera, and also so you guys know where I found the nether fortress. I was actually hoping to be able to enchant some stuff before I went into the fortress, but it turned out that even though I have enough books and stuff, I haven't found any lapis yet. Either that or I have it in a weird spot that I need to find in my chests. But either way, I'm gonna just try to go in and avoid taking as much damage as possible. And maybe I can find some diamonds and stuff in here as well in the chests. Geez, I didn't realize just how hard wither skeletons hit in hardcore. I'm used to playing against wither skeletons on like easy or normal, so that really took me by surprise. This is not good. I'm panicking. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how I ended up looking at him. But I think I need to make like a little safe zone right outside of the fortress. Okay, and now I'm gonna try to continue. That's not a bad chest so far. And nether wart is pretty good to find right off the bat as well. Mostly what I'm here for is blaze rods though, so that I can make a brewing stand. But you don't actually need nether wart for the potions of harming. So that's good, I guess. There's a crazy amount of wither skeletons spawning down here. Like, I think I've already fought around 5 wither skeletons. I wish I had looting coming into this. That would have been very helpful. Okay, well, I left the fortress. I only got 4 blaze rods. I managed to find a blaze spawner, but it was kind of in a terrible spot. But on my way back, I kind of am a little lost. I know what direction to go, I just don't know where the path is that I took the first time. So I think that I'm actually going to do a little bit of trading with this guy before I go back. And just see what I can get. Okay, I just made it back to the house. I added a little table and some decorations when I got here. Of course, this is a useful decoration. I have everything that I need to convert a villager other than a gunpowder, which I'll need for the splash potion. But we might have to wait until nighttime, and I unfortunately just slept because I didn't realize that we didn't have any gunpowder. I ended up making this portion of the roof stick up a little bit more and adding a window there, as well as adding just some lines out of stripped oak wood there. I'm definitely still planning on adding more to the sides as well as this. This won't be the final product. And the back, I'm thinking I'm gonna add a chimney, which will add a little bit of depth. I added a stair there. I also need to add one to the other side. But I think our base overall is starting to come along quite nicely. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It is just a starter base and it won't be where we live forever. And there is a lot of things that need to change about this base just to make it look better, but overall I think we're making progress pretty nicely. I'm also realizing that I probably shouldn't have traded the gold that I had with that piglin because I didn't really get anything worthwhile out of it, and I don't have very much gold at home, and I'm gonna have to use it for converting the villagers. So I actually just made a map of our little base area here. This is what it looks like so far, and I was thinking that I would probably lock it how it is right now and then create more maps as we make progress in the world. And for those of you that don't know, to lock a map so that you're not able to change it later on or accidentally update it, you actually just add it to a cartography table with a glass pane. And now it says it's locked. It's now nighttime around the house. This is the first time that I've let it get this late, if I'm remembering correctly, which means that it's time to try to go and get a creeper. But I am a little bit concerned that we'll die or blow up our house. Oh, he dropped his helmet. Just a protection one leather helmet, but that's kind of cool. I don't see any creepers, which is not the best. Oh, I see one over there, but I don't know if that's a good idea. And there's the creeper, actually. I think that the skeleton that was beside it despawned, which is kind of nice. Although we could have tried to kill it by getting the skeleton to shoot it. And that's all we need. Eventually we'll make a creeper farm, like once we get an elytra and stuff, if we make it that far. And then we won't have to kill them by hand so that we can do this. And I'll probably actually just go back to bed so that we don't get more problems spawning. And now the potions are ready for whenever we are to just cure that guy and then bring him back. I probably shouldn't have slept so that I could have just cured him right away after converting him, but I don't know that it would have been the best idea anyways to try to do that without setting up the space a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, I don't really want to lose the one villager that I did manage to bring over. I should kill this creeper. And no gunpowder from him. So the villager is actually even closer to our house than I thought. The house looks pretty bad from the back, I must admit. We're gonna have to do some changes to that eventually. And what I think I'm gonna do now is actually set up an automatic sheep farm. I was going to set up 2 so that we can get a couple colors at a time and just change it out whenever, but I realized that I don't actually have enough string for that. That's one of the reasons that I was trading with the piglin in the first place, is because I needed string and I knew that that was a trade because I wanted to get a bow of my own. I could just use the bow that I have to make the dispenser for the second sheep farm, but I don't think that that's a great idea to not have a bow on me. And I did manage to get some spectral arrows when I was trading as well, so that's just kind of a benefit that I don't want to lose or not be able to use at the very least. I originally was going to use the gray sheep and that's why I brought it over, But while I was building the farm, a white sheep actually fell into the spot that I was building the farm. So I guess we're using a white sheep instead. Sorry I didn't talk that whole time. I was really focused on just trying to get the zombie in there so that it can convert the villager and not dying from the other zombies that were spawning. Now my biggest thing is being able to cure him and save the other zombie, because the zombie was actually one of the zombies that can pick up blocks, so it won't despawn as long as it doesn't die, which is not despawning, I guess. And there we go, he will convert. I need to find a way to separate these two though without causing too much trouble. What I could do is expand this dirt hut a little bit and then place him in a separate boat. I'm going to need to get him out of here pretty quickly though. There we go. And there we go. I just dug the zombie down into a separate space, lit it up, and now he's walked in and separated from this guy, so we shouldn't have any problems between the two of them. I do, however, need to replace the walls and stuff so that our villager doesn't get eaten. And there we go. Our first converted villager. That was very quick. I guess I could have done my first villager conversion on a zombie villager that was newly spawned in the world, and that way I would have had 2 villagers that I could breed, but I'm hoping that I can figure out a good first trade for this guy. I was thinking maybe mending or something like that, because he will have cheaper trades than usual, but I also don't have a source of emeralds right now, so I might have to just make him like a farming villager. It's just hard to know what decision to make so far, so I'm gonna have to wait, and I'll just go and finish off my wool farm quickly. So I decided to go with a farmer villager. Mostly what fueled the decision is I will need emeralds pretty quickly on, and I also will need more food because I just actually ate my last piece of steak. So here's our first trade. We have some bread to eat, and I am also going to convert some of the wheat that we stole from the village we got this guy from and just level him up a bit. And that's perfect because now we can trade our pumpkins for just 1 emerald each. And so now we can have bread and golden carrots, which I think are probably the best food in the game. They just give you a lot of saturation, and obviously they're pretty easy to get, especially if you have a cured villager. Usually they're 3 emeralds for 3 carrots, but I can get them for 1 for 3. Hopefully soon, once we get our next villager, we will be able to get fortune and be getting it a lot quicker. And I honestly might make an iron farm early game. I know that fortune makes it a lot easier to get that stuff, but I would like to be able to get a beacon and all of that stuff without having to worry too much. Of course, I should probably bring coal though. This is exactly why I say that I'm forgetful or that I have a 1-track mind, because I knew that I was planning on going caving, and yet I didn't bring any coal at all. I'm actually planning on going caving in the cave that I fell into when I was making the wool farm. So the wool farm is just like right here, I think. You also might notice that I'm placing more torches that I might need when I cave. That's because eventually I would like to make some mob farms and stuff around my base, and the rates of the farms will be a lot quicker if the caves underneath are all lit up to a point where mobs can't spawn down here. I'd also like to mention, while we're getting close to the end of the episode, that I posted a building tutorial for a little starter home made out of calcite and some of the new blocks. And I'm actually pretty proud of the build that I was able to come up with. It's not usually the kind of block palette that I would use in a build, but I think that it turned out really well, honestly. It was a little cottagecore themed build. It had lots of spruce wood and calcite and just little decorations like hanging plants and stuff like that. And I think that building that and coming up with that actually kind of opened my eyes to more building styles. I am familiar with quite a few building styles, but I never really feel comfortable trying to build with new styles or styles that differ from kind of just what I know best, which is just like wood patterns and integrating colors other than, say, like hues of brown and beige with like the lighter gray stone colors. I think that calcite is a really good block, and I'm glad that they added it to the game for that reason, honestly, because it's really beautiful and it's kind of difficult to integrate it into a lot of builds just because of the pattern it has. I feel like it's a more mature version of diorite. There's a witch by our house. Probably should have slept when I seen that it was nighttime, but I decided not to do that for some reason. And oh, I actually managed to sneak in even though there's monsters nearby. I don't think that I'll be leaving my house anytime soon, seeing as there's 2 creepers and a witch out there. I was planning on ending the episode off with a bit of caving, but I decided not to cave for as long as I was thinking that I was going to. Mostly because I would actually like to get a little bit of a start on our basement that we have going, so that I can get some enchants, which will be nice because there's things like witches that just spawn outside of the house that I need to be prepared for. And also because I managed to reach level 30. I wasn't even aiming to do that this episode, but it is nice that I have it done. I'm not sure that I'll get a level 30 enchant this episode, but it is nice to just know that I can do that very soon. While I was digging my little basement here, I actually just heard that a wandering trader just showed up. So I will grab some emeralds and maybe he'll have some good trades, and if he doesn't, then he will have some leads. I would like to get a couple slime balls, but it's not really a great price. Other than that, they're all pretty terrible trades, and so I think I'll just take care of him and leave the llamas around. Why was there only 1 lead? And I guess my best friend is a llama. So there's that. Okay, and I've been working long and hard on finishing up our basement and getting an enchanting table set up. So here is the finished tour. I know it looks fantastic. I definitely don't have to change any of the walls or the floor. I think that it looks great, and I definitely don't have any improvements to make on it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed the episode. If you did, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.